Jay Jones, professor of biology and biochemistry, University of Laverne.
Quand le jour est en avance, sur toi tout se pose, tant d'égards et d'insouciance, je cherche tes mains qui osent, et que le diable m'emporte, si je ne sens plus ton cœur.
Jay Jones came as an assistant professor. I was already here. I was working in what we now call the provost's office at the time, and he came in with all kinds of ideas, with a professional career in the oil industry and a research background. So he was an interesting guy to talk with, and still continues to be.
I have majors in microbiology, botany, plant sciences, all but 2 courses shy of a chemistry major. My wife essentially got tired of being a graduate student spouse and said, "You're getting a job and I'm finishing my degree." I went back, finished my doctorate. My wife had finished her degree, and then I was lured off by an oil company, and I spent 2.5 years working for Arco Oil and Gas.
Arco Oil Company had paid him to essentially merge those fields of geology and biology and try to see whether it was possible to find any kind of linkage between the plant growth at the top of the surface and whether there was any petroleum below the surface.
It was an exciting time, but I felt like a fish out of water because I fell in love with the academic environment. I had the opportunity to look for an academic job, and that's when I found this job out here in California. So I had the opportunity here to teach with anthropologists, religion scholars, with historians, teaching a variety of different flavors of a course called Toward a Sustainable Planet. Many of those were travel courses.
I actually met him for the first time in China. So this trip is put on by this organization called New Community Project. And I'm not sure how Jay heard about it, but I heard about it through some professors here at ULV. And I know that organization does work with students here in Laverne. But yeah, so that's how I first met him for the first time, and I introduced myself to him. Even though Jay retired from being a professor at ULV, he keeps coming back, I think, because he has a passion for teaching. He knows that his students still have things to learn, especially about the planet and how, this country is moving forward in relations to that. I think he has a calling to teach.
Why do faculty come back, and why did Jay come back to teach? Well, in part because no one is ever really ready to separate themselves from teaching. They're ready to separate themselves from what some people call administrivia. They're ready to separate themselves from the conflicts and the backbiting and things that happen in any organization.
Well, some people have asked me from time to time about why would I go back and teach for $28 an hour with a limit of 160 hours for a course? Well, you got to spend more than 160 hours on a course. I get excited when I learn new things, and I like to share that excitement with others. I think the future of humanity depends on igniting the interest and desire to learn in subsequent generations. I've had the wonderful opportunity to work with instrumentation here and to bring instrumentation to the University of Laverne. That room next door has a scanning electron microscope that, with an energy dispersive X-ray system that can do pretty profound things.
I think people will feel that Jay Jones has made such an impact, especially in learning. He's created these different out-of-the-box courses that only he can teach, and I think that that's that's the kind of like curiosity. I know I keep saying that. That's the kind of curiosity, the kind of teaching, and the kind of learning that he's going to leave. Like maybe spark that passion in his students.
There are many legacies that he'll leave here. Certainly the kind of legacy that not every faculty member, but every caring faculty member has, is the students that he taught during the time here. I mean, you mentioned that you are a student of his now, but of course you're there as a general education student. But the students that he taught in microscopy, the students that he taught in chemistry and biology, who went on and are today PhDs teaching or working in industry and doing those kind of things.
One of the things that I have inherited from my Midwest upbringing in the middle of the last century was this obligation to serve society and to work toward the common good. And that has been intensified throughout my life, because the more value that I gain from education and wonderful opportunities for experiences, the more I feel obligated to give back. And so that's essentially what drives me now. And as we enter the late fall of our lives, that becomes very intense, especially when you see the trends away from civic awareness and a sense of working toward the common good instead of just the personal good and gain in wealth and power. I would hope to pass on the sense of obligation that we have to the common good, and to have each of us examine our own personal integrity and our values. What is it that we value the most? And to dig deeply into that question, to go beyond the I want the BMW, or I want a large house, or damn, that woman is sexy, you know. To dig deeply, what are the root values that you have? Because life is short, and you want to be aiming in the right direction and not waste your time being diverted by modern commercialism and so forth. So consider personal integrity, and consider what your true goals are and what your true values are.